What a mess. All right, guys, I didn't videotape it. Actually forgot my GoPro, but I finally got the transmission. Found this from a guy down there in across state line. Went right after work to go get it. I only worked half a day, so worked half a day. Drove about 2 hours to the guy's place. He wasn't even there, but first time pulling a transmission. So it took me 4 hours to get this thing yanked out. Like I said, it's the first time I ever did it. I've been to a few junkyards and I saw a few things there that I thought I should have done this time around, but now that I've done it once, if I ever had to do it again, I definitely would. And number one is I'm going to end up getting me I need to get a battery powered Sawzall. It would have made yanking that drive shaft just to get that slip yoke out, I'd have just cut it right there. The cross member, I had to jack the whole transmission up. If I had a saw, I could have just cut the ends off and dropped everything right there. I did bring a jack. So that's one advantage of not being at a junkyard. They don't let you use jacks, so I'm not quite sure how I would have done it at a junkyard without a jack. Disadvantage of not being at a junkyard was this thing was sitting on its tires, therefore I had to jack up the whole side of the vehicle high enough to be able to slide myself up in there to work on it, as well as high enough to slide the transmission out under the cross member, or under the frame, sorry. Today I'll go ahead and spray this down, try to clean most of this gook off of it before I stick it in the garage. I might actually take it down to the car wash and use a high pressure sprayer on it. But finally got it. One more piece of the puzzle. All right, I got a heck of a mess going on here. I've yet to clean up from my little junkyard excursions, as well as going to that one dude's house or actually that one dude's lot, and getting his transmission. And it's a freaking disaster in here. I did get a chance the other weekend to clean up the transmission. Just degreased it, scrubbed it down quite a bit. Still got some nasty parts in there, but it's 100% better than what it was. I got a bunch of the nuts and bolts in my little parts washer here. Nothing but 2-cycle gas and 2-cycle gas. Sit there in the sun, let it be a heated parts washer. So I'm cleaning some bolts up there. I did get a delivery. Torque arm, cross member for the 4L80. It comes with the all the brackets for the torque arm going all the way to the rear end. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I just got it in. So I think I'm to the point where I'm ready to try to shove this 10 pounds of crap into this little 5-pound space. I'm really not quite sure the best course of action for this. I don't think my engine hoist will successfully pick both the motor and transmission up at the same time. I might give it a shot out here on the side just to see. I know when I was doing the truck, I had just regular small block Chevy and a $700 R4, and I actually had to stand on the back for counterbalance, and that was when I had the whole front end pulled off of it, so I wasn't in a scary position of dropping it on body parts or anything like that. So still scary, but so we're I'm half tempted to do the transmission first and then do the motor. I might do a test lift with both of them just to see how it handles it. But otherwise, like I said, I think I'm gonna have to shove the transmission in there. Maybe I'll set it up on a jack, and then as the motor gets put in there, I can jack it up and mate it up to the motor, and try to set them both in the same place. Then I'll use this for a transmission jack. This is the same thing I use for my motorcycle. It's supposedly a motorcycle slash ATV jack, but wide base like that, I really it'll come in handy if I slide it up under there. Just use it to hold it in place, lift it up to the motor. We'll see. I don't know. All right, so I think this is the day slash weekend I get this motor and this transmission in this little hole. That's my next goal. That's my finish line. So small steps to see how she goes. All right, transmission's in there. when I say in there, I mean it's in the hole. All right, it's underneath the vehicle in the general area that it's supposed to be. Still sitting on that little jack I was showing you earlier. Go ahead and shove it back a little bit. See if I can get this motor slid in place, and then we'll see what kind of nightmare I'd have to deal with to get them to mate up. All right, so it's in there. And when I say in there, I mean I got the motor mounts, the two motor mounts slid in there. The bolts are in, fitting, and that's it. Still got the weight on the chain, the hoist. The very last bit you saw me slide this whole thing this way. I wanted to do that to see if hopefully make it easier to do this bell mouth on the transmission. I know there's some other things I needed to worry about. I can't remember now what. Oh, this whole time I was talking about keeping my air conditioner. I'm gonna have to see, it mounts right here, so I'm gonna have to see how it's gonna fit with everything. So that's where my compressor gets mounted down there. Doesn't look like my air compressor is going to fit on there. We'll have to, once again, that's another one of those things we'll play by ear. I say air compressor, I mean air conditioner, the compressor for my air conditioner. If that's the case, it actually will make things a whole lot easier. I just get rid of all that right there. I wanted to try keeping it, but Low on the totem pole. Priorities. Let's see if I can get this transmission lifted up high enough and see if I can get it lined up on this motor. I'll be right back. All right, got the motor in. I could say it wasn't that bad, seeing as how I've got them together now, but at the time I was cussing. Yeah, it just took a lot of jockeying back and forth. You can see this motor's at I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's a pretty significant angle, tilted back. Of course, then again, sitting on 6x6 blocks there, wheel dollies with a flat tire back there. So the whole car itself is all twisted and bound up. This is what I got going on. Got one jockey in the back of the motor at the oil pan, and another one just sitting here underneath the transmission pan. You might be able to tell. I mean, it's not really doing anything right now. I just kind of got it there. I am running into an issue, something I'm gonna have to read online about or something. I don't know. Remember, this is a 4L80 and a 6-liter LQ4, but the issue I'm having is I've got, like, can't see it down here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the issue I'm running into is I got, like, just barely, I mean, a couple thousandths of a gap all the way around between my bell housing and the block. One thing, I don't know if everybody knows or not, I just learned this not long ago, but you do not want to use the bolts to pull the motor and transmission together. They should slide together, slap together, and then you just use the bolts to hold them together. If you use the bolts to draw them up tight together, you run the risk of snapping the ears on the bell mouth. You should just slide together, slap together, and then use the bolts to hold them together. And I thought I'd had it all the way together, but there's a slight gap all the way around each one. And I got to looking up underneath there. I tried spinning the torque converter and it didn't want to spin. Evidently it had a lot of pressure between that and the flywheel, so evidently something's not quite lined up. So I don't know if I need I remember something on YouTube about us having to install spacers on these flywheels. Don't fully know if I need it or not. For whatever reason, I thought if it was a 4L80 going onto a non-6.0 flywheel, I thought that's what I'd heard. Like I said, I'm gonna have to do some reading on it. This is a 6.0 motor. I got a 6.0 flywheel, and then I have this 4L80 torque converter. I put the torque converter, mounted it up to the flywheel before I did all this, and the snout, or that little snout part of the torque converter, slid in no problem. All the bolt holes lined up on the flywheel, so I was like, sweet. And I went ahead and pulled it back off and put it on the transmission, getting ready to after I dropped the transmission in, I dropped it in there. So I don't know. Okay, so it's a week later. Where we left off last time, we got the motor and transmission bolted up together. I had to readjust the torque converter at least one time. So now everything's fitting up nice. I got the motor mounts to the cross member, and right now I just have the trans in the back of the motor supported by jacks. So for me to finish up what I'm calling this motor and trans install, is I got a cross member here for the transmission. I get that in place, get everything up and supported under the car with no jacks. And I'm calling it a done deal, at least for goal number 1. So primarily just get this cross member and transmission sitting on it. Not worried about setting pinion angles or all this angle of the motor yet. Right now, just in place. Well, 5 minutes later, and come to a screeching halt. Here's my cross member mount. That ain't gonna bolt. That ain't right. Let me double check something. Maybe I got it upside down. All right, all the jacks are out. Didn't go as easy as expected, that's for sure. Like I said before, I videoed earlier, and I actually thought they'd welded this bracket wrong. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out. Stupid me, I had it upside down. So, just so you know, this torque arm mark right here goes on the right side. Something else that took me forever fighting, there is 2 holes in this frame right here, 2 thread, and there's capture bolts in here, so essentially 2 threaded holes. I don't know how long I was fighting with this thing, trying to get, there's a hole here in the mount and another hole here. Obviously I was fighting forever trying to get these pushed down there, which shifted everything down, and it completely screwed up that side. So as soon as I finally tried to make it fit, regardless of where the holes were, just trying to line things up, that's where I noticed that there is another hole right here. Try and get this in frame. There is another hole in the frame up here. However, it is not threaded. There's one threaded here, there's another one here, there's a hole here with no threads or a capture nut or anything here. So they only had 2. Like I said, this is where I was trying to fit these 2 mount holes down here. It does not go that way. Evidently, it is designed to go, one bolt get captured in this threaded hole, and I don't know about right there. I'm guessing I'm gonna have to try to go through the frame here and fish a bolt. That's what, 6 inches, I guess. Try to fish a nut through here and get a nut, a bolt onto a nut that way. Same with the other side. I don't know if you can see from over here, but there is another hole in the frame. So took me forever. Here's another thing that I'm unsure about. I'm gonna have to call and make sure. Is that a transmission mount? The hole right there is not the size for that bolt. So either A, I'm gonna have to drill out that center hole on this mount, or B, it's supposed to go in one of these two oblong holes. I'm guessing it's supposed to go, I would have guessed it'd gone in that center hole there. But I'm gonna have to do some drilling if that's the case. When I first laid it up here, I seriously thought I was gonna have to start doing some cutting. But it looks like it's in there. Appears to be, I mean, it's very heavy duty transmission mount. It's just a matter of me figuring out how to get it mounted and bolted up in here. I don't know what else to say about it. It's up in here. That was my goal. Like I said, it's going to take a little more tweaking, but that's it for now. I got the jacks out, It's on its own weight, so it's holding it. Goal complete. Let's move on.